Hello and welcome to the channel Ruckosaurus Rex, where we discuss all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. What we have here today, we're rounding out our latest trio of beasts of the Mesozoic Ceratopsian series figures. We've got the big dog, Torosaurus latus. Yes, indeed, you can see the packaging. You see the figure in the packaging. You can see that it is indeed a big boy, as Torosaurus, between Torosaurus and the Triceratops, they were among the largest of the ceratopsians. I believe there's a third species that's come along now that also holds a claim to that title. So the title may possibly be three-way. Anyhow, enough of that. We are talking about the guy we have in front of us today, which is Torosaurus. And as you can see from the sleeve, we've got some nice artwork of the Torosaurus. Turning to the side, and this is a bulky boy. I'm going to need two hands. You've got that Beast of the Mesozoic logo, and of course the icon of the Triceratops, the aforementioned Triceratops there. Turning to the back, we've got that sleeve. You see the collectible card. That's how it'll appear with that same artwork of the Torosaurus. Torosaurus is number 25 in the line, and this is the Series 3. Yes, indeed, this is my first acquisition from Series 3, and looks like I'm starting from the back going up, as Torosaurus is the absolute last. Triceratops is 24. And I will be getting a trike at some point. I've already got the juvie, so or as it's known as the subadult. I consider it a juvie, considering its size. But I spoke on that. You want to hear me rant about that? Go check out that review. Anyhow, Torosaurus stands for perforated lizard, and the length. From the we're going into the info now. The length is around 9 meters, which equates to about 30 feet long. So once again, Torosaurus was a big boy. It may be just a little bit bigger than Triceratops. That goes back and forth. There's even been discussion on Torosaurus and Triceratops are actually the same species, only the frills are different. I'm of the mind that Torosaurus is a separate animal, which it is kind of strange, because they were both, the Torosaurus and the Triceratops were around in the same area, so that's pretty unusual for that to happen with similar species. But yeah, I just find it hard to believe that Torosaurus and Triceratops were different animals. Were the same animals, and the differences are in their frills. Anyhow, continuing on, location across the western interior of North America, the time period, late Cretaceous, 68 million years ago. Among the largest of ceratopsians, Torosaurus was a contemporary of its close relative, Triceratops. The validity of this species was contested in 2010 as being synonymous with Triceratops, but later dismissed due to a lot of transitional skull evidence. It's what I said. For me, they're two separate species. So that's what I'm going with. And removing the sleeve so you can see the rest. As you can see, this is Wave 3, and they've got 7 figures in this wave, and yeah, I've yet to get the Xenoceratops, Utaceratops, the Trialbertoceratops, Pentaceratops, or the Sinoceratops, but they're on the list, so you can best believe that. Anyhow, getting back around, like I said, this is a big boy. Get one final look at our Torosaurus in the packaging, because it's time to, pun intended, unleash the beast. And as with all BOTM figures, they come with an insert, a backdrop, and Torosaurus is no exception. And here's what we have here. Very nice look at forest. So this will work nicely with hopefully Torosaurus, and definitely smaller figures for sure. As you no doubt can see, we have foregone the rotating base. That's because this guy is too big for the rotating base. Can't fit. The base doesn't have enough of a diameter to cleanly fit all four limbs on it for it to spin around, so we're just going to get right to it. And since we're already talking about how big our Torosaurus is, let's take a measurement right now. So going basically from tip of the horn more or less to the tip of the tail, we're talking about 18 inches long. These are scaled at 1/18 scale, so if you do the calculations right, this is representative of a 27-foot long animal. So that's right in there. Yeah, like I said, big boy. And technically this isn't even fully grown. For me, since it is smaller than 30, I'll have this be representative of a female or a cow, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, a male would probably be a little bit bigger than this, but this is still very large, especially for ceratopsian, and we'll see when we do our comparisons later on. But for right now, let's get a closer look at what we know to be the highlight of this figure, which will of course, besides its massive size, the skull. So we've got our skull of the Torosaurus up close and personal here on an angle, definitely because it'll be hard pressed to fit the whole thing in frame. Torosaurus had the largest skull on record out of the ceratopsians for sure. Very, very long, and it's being represented here perfectly with beasts of the Mesozoic. Looking at it from the front, since we are talking about it, let's get a look at the design of that frill. You see the right there, they almost look like eyes from a distance, but close up they kind of look like horseshoes with beige and kind of rust colored perimeters there. In terms of the color itself, we're talking about this figure was inspired by the blue beaded tree monitor. Yes, the blue spotted tree monitor, I think, is the actual name of it. So that's where it takes its inspiration. And of course, other liberties were taken to customize, if you will, the figure. Looking at the skull, try to get it in closer. Once again, it's got that blue, and the beak is like a kind of like an orangish style yellow, and the tip of the beak is a reddish tan. The horns, the brow horns, are blue, and then they end in that same reddish tan. The nasal horn is the same color as the rest of the skull. You see the looks like it's kind of you see the scalation right there, looking good. Same thing there on the bottom jaw, which has some other colors too. The eye is painted like mango orange with a black pupil, and surrounded by whites and reds, and you see blacks in there. You've got along the frill, you've got some more of the tan edging there going all the way around, and you see the shape of that frill, which is decidedly different from the shape of the Triceratops frill. That's why I just can't buy that they're the same species. That's too much of a difference for bone structure to just change like that. Anyway, looking more at our Torosaurus, looking at the back of the frill there, it's nothing special. It's still that same blue. There's a wash back, so it can you can distinguish with the scales there. Then you have some brown that starts back there at the back of the neck, and then you see it leads out. You've got blue spotting there with some like grayish blue, and the spots go down. You've got a wash that shows the scales. It's basically blue with the wash showing the scales all the way down, and the toes painted like that same orange, beige, mango orange, I guess it would be. And then to the rear, you see the scalation. You got some black striping going down, but for the most part, it's you really just have two basic colors, the blue and the brown. There's some black in there, and there's a different shade of blue spotting, as you could see right there. And you can get a good idea of the scalation looking at it from the top right down the spine. It's got blue, and then on either side is the brown till you get to the lower half. Then you see how it spots right there, and you can definitely see the distinguishing scales, osteoderms, and all that going down. The tail, same thing, blue, brown stripes till you get to the latter portion of it, and it changes color and it lightens up, but it has like that blue wash on it, so that's cool. And of course, it's basically mimicked on the opposite side. The underbelly, though lighter, is still basically that blue. It's light there with the blue wash. So yeah, that is our Torosaurus in all of its blue glory. As far as articulation is concerned, once again, big boy, so here we go. We'll start off here at the head. It has an articulated jaw. Let's see if we can look inside that mouth now that I open it up, so you can see it's got a nice wet look. You look that way, and if you can see back there, you can see some rows of teeth back there. Really kind of hard because you can't get their mouths open that much. So yes, definitely articulated jaw, and that's the most you can get the jaw closed. It won't close fully. As far as the head, you can get the head to look up that far. That's pretty nice, and it can look down quite a bit. The neck also works in unison, so you get some with the neck. You go left and right like that, pretty good. You're not going to get too much in terms of going around, but that's because of the shape of how it fits on. It's not round, so you're not going to get too much of a rotation there. But still in all, that's some good articulation for the head. You get articulation mid-torso, up, down, left, right. As far as the leg is concerned, you can, of course, swivel it there. Something fell down. Don't worry about it. It was another figure. And you get that. You have articulation at the, we'll call it the elbow. So you have articulation there. And then, of course, it swivels. You can get articulation at the foot. You see it goes up, down. You can get it to go kind of left and right. And, of course, the leg splays out, goes in. So that's pretty cool too. As far as the hind limb, you get articulation there. It also can splay out and go in pretty decently. You've got articulation there at the knee, where it'll go back that much. Forward, pretty good. You can get it to stand pretty straight and tall. And then you've got that secondary joint where you have articulation there, and with the feet up, down, and you can get that swivel on. The tail, you get it to go left, right, down, up, and if you want, you could spin it, but once again, as I always say, why would you want to? And he works pretty good. He's balanced on 3 legs right there. So get him back down, get him posed back out, turn his head a little bit, and there's our Torosaurus. Comparison, so you can get an idea of just how big the Torosaurus is. Here we have our Wendiceratops, which we've just recently reviewed. So yeah, there you have it. That's quite the size difference. Giving you some more of that. This is our Spicolapius, and you can really see the size difference. Spicolapius is one of the smaller ceratopsians. And last up to bat, we have our Centrosaurus, which was my previously largest ceratopsian, and she supposedly scales at 20 feet. Actually, this version of Centrosaurus is too large. It actually scales out to be about a 23-foot long animal, which is more or less larger than what they actually grew to. But even then, with the being oversized, look how it's still eclipsed by the Torosaurus. Here's our Torosaurus with the backdrop as I attempt to get it all in. But yeah, our boy is just too big, but still, you know, what you could do with the backdrop creatively, sky's the limit. Now I've got him with his legs splayed out in an attempt to show him feeding. Didn't do too good of a job, but you get the idea. And one final pose on our way out. Just a little basic pose right there with the front legs kind of splayed out there and head down, as it's what I'm trying to simulate is a defensive posture. Anyhow, I'd have to work with it to get better poses. As I'm sure anyone who has beasts of the Mesozoic knows, there are loads of possibilities. 20 points of articulation with this boy, and it is a big boy summoning up right now. In conclusion, Torosaurus, the last of the ceratopsians, number 25, and among the largest, two of the largest, the last two being the largest, this and the Triceratops, and coming in at 18 inches long. Coloration pretty nice. The blue spotted tree monitor is what it's inspired by, the colors. Very nice. That skull, as always, is the highlight of any ceratopsian, and the sheer size is just incredible. And yeah, there's not much more I can say about it. I'm loving it. That wraps up these three, this trio that I've gotten, my last trio. I don't know which figures I'll be getting next, but you can rest assured I will be coming up soon with some more from the 3 waves of the Ceratopsian series. This being my first from wave 3, and kicking it off with a bang. Anyhow, please like the video, and please share it so others can come in and hopefully they'll like it as well. And while you're down there liking, please subscribe, help me support this channel, and of course you can leave your comments below. And if you want to be notified when I upload another video, please hit that bell and you shall be notified. Once again, this has been the Beast of the Mesozoic, Torosaurus, Rex. Thank you for watching. Take care, guys.